Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Whitney Ward. Mark is off tonight. Well, just a short time ago, we have confirmed prosecutors will seek the death penalty for the man who is accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students, Brian Kohberger, if he is found guilty. This all comes about 40 days after he was formally indicted by a grand jury. We are turning straight to KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk now. He's breaking down exactly what led prosecutors to making that decision.
If convicted, Brian Kohberger will be sentenced to death. In court documents filed this morning, the Latah County prosecutor says the murder of 4 University of Idaho students was especially heinous, atrocious, or cruel, manifesting exceptional depravity, adding the defendant acted with reckless indifference to human life. Prosecutors had a 60-day window to seek the death penalty after Kohberger's arraignment. The decision comes 3 weeks before the deadline. The state of Idaho has executed 3 people since the 1970s. 8 people are currently on death row. Last December, the state had no choice but to call off the execution of Gerald Pizzuto because the Department of Corrections was unable to get a hold of the lethal injection drugs they needed.
The companies that do make this drug are European countries, and they're no longer willing to sell it to the United States, as they have been for nearly 10 years now.
Beginning July 1st, if lethal injection is not an option, inmates will be executed by a firing squad. Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
All of this coming as Kohberger is expected to be back in court tomorrow. There will be a hearing to discuss pausing proceedings against him so he can contest his grand jury indictment. Kohberger is asking for the full documents from the grand jury that indicted him and then time to review those documents. So the state argues he's only entitled to an audio recording or transcript of the grand jury proceedings. The release of the grand jury records will be discussed tomorrow starting at 1:30 in the afternoon in the Latah County Courthouse, and KREM 2 will be there in the courtroom. Also right now, investigators are looking into Spokane City Administrator Johnny Perkins. On Friday, the city confirmed to KREM 2 that Perkins is now on administrative leave due to employee concerns. However, we still don't know exactly what those concerns are. KREM 2's Janelle Finch is tracking down answers for us, though, today. She's telling us now what she's learned as she's dug deeper today. Janelle?
Johnny Perkins signed on as the city administrator here in Spokane April 2021. He's been here just over 2 years, but this most recent investigation isn't the first time Perkins has been involved in a city-level controversy. We don't know much about why Johnny Perkins is being investigated. I've reached out to city council members, the mayor's office, and even Johnny Perkins himself to ask for more clarity on the investigation. Today, City Council member Zach Sapone told KREM 2 he knows of the investigation, but no additional details. Council President Brian Beggs says he also doesn't know a lot, but is expecting an update from the mayor tomorrow. At this time, the city says it's unable to provide more details until the investigation has concluded. This is the second time Perkins has been on the receiving end of criticism from City of Spokane employees. The first was just 1 month after taking his position. June 2021, former Spokane Housing Director Cupid Alexander claimed Perkins treated him differently because he's black. Alexander also claimed Perkins would leave him out of meetings to force him out of his role sooner than his announced end date. The city called in an independent investigator to look into Cupid's claims. By October 2021, the investigation found no evidence of racial discrimination. Even before that, Perkins came to Spokane with some unfinished business. He worked for the city of San Diego between 2018 and 2020. He first took a role as the city's deputy chief operating officer. In that role, he absorbed a leadership position on a controversial land development project. The city was looking to move its workers into a building with asbestos violations and other health concerns. Our San Diego sister station reports the city knew the building had problems. Years later, and millions of dollars wasted, the building sits vacant. Perkins was moved to a position in the city's Environmental Services Department following the situation. I've also tried reaching out to the city's HR department to learn more about the employee concerns, but I haven't heard back. In the studio, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
Janelle, thank you very much. And of course, we will continue tracking that. In the meantime, we want to talk weather now because tonight we are tracking the summer heat and the possible return of thunderstorms as we move through the region here over the next couple of days. So what we can expect now from our chief meteorologist, Jeremy Legoo.
Whitney, it's more of the same. I think the next couple of days wind up looking a lot like today, and that's hot with a few isolated storms. That storm that moved through the airport or just south of it has cooled off temperatures quite nicely over there, but We're still pretty warm here in town. 78 degrees is where we currently sit, but those storms are bringing the threat of some isolated flooding. Flood watch is in effect for Chelan and western Okanagan County through tonight. That's heavy rain from slow-moving thunderstorms. Basically, it's flood-prone areas. If you've seen flooding in an area, you have the potential to see it with some of these storms. Storms north of Moses Lake seem to be falling apart as they near Ephrata, and that seems to be the case. The storm near Cheney now working its way down to the south and slowly to the west, and it's falling apart as well. But these things are not moving, and that's the reason that we get the flood threat. Overall, not much expected. Those storms just kind of hang out and dump the water. We have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, but not a lot of atmospheric dynamics that favor more storm development. So I think it's kind of the similar story the next couple of days. Temps mid to low 80s. Thunderstorms predominantly in the afternoon, isolated or scattered in nature, eventually winding down as the sun goes down. Thursday, 90 degrees, not a cloud in the sky, and that starts our trend of some serious summer heat.
It's going to be a very warm 4th of July weekend. Jeremy, thank you. And happening here in less than an hour, the Spokane City Council is set to discuss a number of items. It's a very packed agenda for tonight's meeting. So there are 3 things that we are following tonight. First, City Council will continue discussions on increasing penalties for being in a city park after hours. Right now, it's considered a non-traffic civil infraction, but Council wants to make it a misdemeanor crime. They're citing increases of illegal activity in parks after hours. Council could vote on that as early as tonight. Secondly, council members will consider changes to city code regarding short-term rentals. Earlier this month, we reported there are about 650 illegal short-term rental properties in the city. This proposed change would close a loophole that allows these illegal rentals and permit them in more locations. There are also some proposed increased costs for those rental permits. A vote on those changes, though, is not expected tonight. And third, the city of Spokane could get a new motto. So right now it's creative by nature. The proposed slogan is "In Spokane, we all belong." The meeting agenda shows the goal of this new motto is to create a sense of belonging for everyone in the city. It will be introduced tonight before a vote on July 10th. The Northwest Commission on Colleges and Universities has less than 30 days now to decide the fate of North Idaho College. Several NIC leaders met with the commission in Seattle on Friday for a hearing about the school's accreditation status. This comes 2 months after the commission visited NIC's campus to interview students and staff for an evaluation report that was released in May. A final decision on the college's accreditation will be made sometime next month. If the school loses its accreditation, it will be difficult to regain it. For more than a year, NIC's accreditation has been in jeopardy, but our news partners at the Coeur d'Alene Press cite issues going back to 2020. We've got a full breakdown of the timeline on our website right now, KREM.com.